Senator Cornyn.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bessent, welcome to Washington, D.C. You're getting a taste of what it's like here, which is an out-of-body experience for most people who are not acquainted with it. I happen to represent a state that has the 8th largest economy in the world. We think we understand the formula for economic growth and prosperity and opportunity, which are low taxes, a reasonable and modest regulatory footprint, and opportunities for people to prosper, and by prospering, invest and create opportunities for other people to pursue their dreams. We think there's a lot Washington can learn from that formula, and it sounds to me like you agree. One of the strange experiences I've had here is that so many of our colleagues, principally on the other side, think that the money that you earn is not actually yours. It's the federal government's, and you just get to keep a little bit of it. Conversely, I believe that the money that people earn is theirs, and they have a responsibility to pay taxes. But as you point out, an over-tax burden or large tax burden has a way of depressing the economy and reducing standard of living. So I'm grateful for your nomination, and I think you are exactly the type of individual that needs to serve in this important position, and I support your nomination wholeheartedly. Let me ask you, in the short time I have, one sort of obscure question and another one that we discussed in our office. As you know, the market for U.S. Treasuries is the largest market in the world at $28 trillion, and it's critical to the financial stability of the United States. There's actually a proposal for an entity to clear U.S. Treasury futures at the London Clearing House, which is overseen by the Bank of England. Some argue that the Bank of England would have control over a, heaven forbid, a default scenario in this critical market instead of the U.S. Is this a concern to you?
Senator Cornyn, I enjoyed visiting in your office, and I would note that while Texas has more arrivals due to good economic policies, South Carolina has more arrivals as a percent of the population, also driven by our wonderful governor, Henry McMaster.
I'm still going to vote for your nomination. I think it's 1,600 people a day in Texas, but go ahead.
Yeah, everything's bigger in Texas, sir. You raise a very important question, and one that I will investigate further. I was unaware until the past few days of this with the new exchange. What I can tell you is, as a student, a professor of economic history, that it is important for the U.S., for U.S. Treasuries, for us to be able to resolve any stress issues in the market in the U.S. We saw during the Lehman Brothers bankruptcy that many of the problems emanated from the UK subsidiary. So this is something that, thank you for bringing this to my attention, and my inclination is that the resolution authority must lie here in the U.S., but I will get back to you in writing with an answer on this if confirmed.
Thank you. You appropriately mentioned China as one of our biggest challenges. While I believe in free and fair trade, we know that some countries, principally the PRC and the Chinese Communist Party, don't play by the rules. Over the years, by some estimates, U.S. investments in Chinese companies have totaled $2.3 trillion in market value. That was at the end of 2020. That included $21 billion. These are American companies investing in China. $21 billion in semiconductors, $54 billion in military companies, and $221 billion in artificial intelligence. So it's pretty clear to me that U.S. investments have fueled China's economic growth, which has allowed them not only an increased standard of living, which is great for the Chinese people, but problematically, it's also allowed them to modernize their military and now threaten the peace in the Indo-Pacific and beyond. As we've discussed, I've introduced a bill that would require transparency of American companies investing in China. And of course, the entity that would receive the reports from American companies that do that, and since it's strictly a reporting requirement, would be Treasury. What's your view of an outbound investment transparency requirement?
Senator Cornyn, I believe that, as we discussed in your office, this is a very important issue. That the Chinese economy is the most unbalanced economy in the history of the world. They are using their surpluses to fund their military machine in China, and I'm not going to try the Mandarin pronunciation for the sake of everyone in the room, but there is a phrase that is 2 words: military industrial, and military always comes first. So we should understand that, and that we should have a very rigorous screening process for, as you identified, anything that could be used in AI, in quantum computing, in surveillance, in chips, that the U.S. has the lead, and we must make sure that we maintain it through smart policies such as you and I discussed.
Thank you. We need to move on. Senator Bennett.
Mr. Bessent, thank you for being here. Mr. Chairman, congratulations.